Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Stellar Lumens, aka XLM. And with that being said, let's just dive in and let's start off with a few things. So first and foremost, Stellar gave us a little bit of an insight that something cool is coming in 10 days, back on the 2nd. Then we got this follow-up tweet. It was a little bit weird, and it just says, changes in the air, and the category is brand. We're bringing the Stellar to the real world in 5 days. Keep your eyes locked. So everyone got their hopes up. Listen, this was a huge marketing campaign. I mean, like 1,800 likes, 300,000 plus views, followed by 2,400 plus likes, followed by almost 600,000 views. A lot of people were waiting on this, and a lot of people put a lot of weight behind this announcement. Then we got this. The wait is over, introducing the new Stellar. So this is just like a marketing campaign for them to really kind of guide Stellar on their overall idea. So imagine it, build it with Stellar. Basically, the moment is aligning the brand with what they want Stellar to be. So what I got from this, honestly, is just what we originally thought Stellar was anyways, which was more so a P2P retail-driven project. They're not here for the institutions. They're not here for B2B. They could do it, but they're not really focused on that, which is another reason why I say that if you are going to hold XRP, it's not a bad idea to hold XLM either. As we look at XLM, all right, so on the 1 day span, a lot of people sold this thing off because I guess they were waiting for the big news to drop and everyone didn't like it, and then all of a sudden, boom, it dropped in price. Now it dropped down by roughly, it's like a half a cent, a little over a half a cent, almost a whole cent, I should say. Now again, I don't like to put a lot of weight on these announcements. Listen, it was just the same thing with XRP and the lawsuit win, right? Everyone was waiting on the lawsuit win for XRP to skyrocket to $10, which was absolutely idiotic. I've talked about it in the past. I was like, you know, if we do see a lawsuit win, if we see XRP get cleared, it could have a significant spike or it could just do nothing, right? I outlined two scenarios on how things would work. Now, we did get a nice price move, but for the most part, we came back down and cooled off. Because at the end of the day, we are still in a Bitcoin-driven market. All right? The craziest thing that I find around like the retail sector is that we try to tie anything to these big announcements. Like, what were people really thinking this announcement was going to be? I mean, at the end of the day, when we see Stellar announcements, most of them are big nothing events. So I don't really put a lot of weight behind Stellar on these announcements. I mean, it's not like we have something with like Zinfin for an example, right? Like XDC, September 20th, we have the electronic trade documents bill go live. Like, that's something to look forward to. It's not going to be a price driver, but it is something to look forward to because it's centered out on utility. Anything that is utility based around announcements, I heavily support. Not for price, but because I'm looking at the future, right? Like the future of what's going to happen. Now, does this mean that Stellar's dead and, you know, this is whatever? No. I mean, I'm sure that we are disappointed, but the only way that you are disappointed is that if you put a lot of weight behind this announcement, which again, I would never put anything behind a lot of these announcements because most of the time they are big nothing events anyways. Now, with that being said, let's talk about a few things. So I said over on Twitter, I made a tweet, and it was specifically looking at XRP and XLM. I said, believe it or not, but Stellar is accelerating mass adoption through P2P payments. And I think that this is also proven, like I said, through their marketing campaigns. They're really kind of marketing Stellar to the retail sector. They want to be the retail on and off ramp. They want mass adoption from the P2P side of things. I said, under the umbrella of payments, specifically cross-border payments, you have B2B and P2P. Stellar can facilitate both, but it is heavily marketed for the P2P side of things in terms of payments. When I look at XLM and XRP, I view them as very complementary. XLM equals P2P and XRP equals B2B. Either way we look at it, the world around us is evolving. Payments are becoming faster while settlement remains slow. We need to usher the settlement layer into the digital age. You don't do this without adopting new age technologies. Say hello to DLT and digital assets and, of course, blockchain. Blockchain and DLT are becoming the tools that build the rails for tomorrow's payment infrastructure. When you go to the grocery store and pay, you will use this technology. When you send a wire transfer, you will use this technology. This is what mass adoption looks like, disrupting the back-end layer while the front-end layer remains the same. The financial system is evolving. 93% of central banks are exploring CBDCs now. It's only a matter of time. Those that are not researching the space right now will soon be left behind. And again, I say that even around this entire space, like when we look at prices too. Most people are being shaken out by price action or by these assets practically doing nothing. I see a lot of people complaining right now. And it's kind of funny because like this bear market has been one of the worst. If you've been around the space for a while, this bear market has been a lot longer than the past and previous ones. Technically speaking, even if you go back to 2018 all the way up to about 2020 and compare it to where we are at now, it's very similar in a sense, but it is a very, very long bear market so far. And it has been one that's been followed up with, people getting their hopes up and then all of a sudden, boom, disappointment. Which is, again, the main reason why I say, like, as a retail investor, you cannot get your hopes up in this space. Make sure to leave things neutral. Don't have any emotions tied to the space. If you do have emotions tied to the space, you are either one, overinvest it, or two, well, guess what? You're just being emotional. When we look at some of these assets, it's going to take years for them to reach the major prices that people are throwing out there. Meaning, with XRP, right, you have a $100 price prediction. That's not going to happen overnight. Things take time for that. But that does not mean that XLM or XRP won't see significant price action. In fact, when we look at XLM, for example, XLM got very close to breaking its past and previous all-time high in 2021. I believe that this next major run-up, considering the fact that regulations are being discussed now, we are starting to see a big focus point put on utility. I actually think that XLM and XRP are going to perform very well, right? And I do think that when we look at XLM as well, when we look at the past previous all-time highs, right? Like I am expecting a new all-time high for both XLM and XRP. I really am. And a lot of people have been talking about XRP going to $5 to almost $10. And I've been saying like 8 to 10 is the perfect range. If that is the case and XLM follows through in terms of following XRP closely, then we are looking at a pretty significant all-time high for XLM. I mean, we could very well go to $2 to $4. Now, should we get our hopes up? Should we be targeting those prices? No, we shouldn't. But $1 is a great start for XLM in my opinion. And then from there, we really kind of look at, $1.50 to possibly $2. Nonetheless, as we really kind of look at this space today, we know that Stellar and both Ripple, through the likes of utilizing digital assets like XLM and XRP, are trying to bridge the gap. That gap that's trying to be filled is the unbanked. Going back to July of 2022, we've seen this from the World Bank. COVID-19 boosted the adoption of digital financial services. Yes, because guess what? We know that 1.4 billion people worldwide are unbanked. A lot of individuals are also seeing terrible prices when sending money as well. The fees are ridiculous to send money today. And when we look at that, right, like there's a catalyst. There's a catalyst around digital payments. It's not just because of COVID-19. We have seen, digital payments increase drastically in use, but we've also seen a lot of people see major benefits from utilizing digital payments. Specifically, lower fees. And we will continue to see this trend grow. It's only going to become much larger of a trend, considering the fact that, as we know today, payments are still extremely slow. Payments are still extremely expensive. There's problems, right? Now, like I've said, Stellar is trying to do this with MoneyGram. We have MoneyGram access to power of cash in, cash out, on and off ramps. We even do see here, but the excitement doesn't end with just Sorbonne. In June, MoneyGram, in collaboration with SDF, rolled out MoneyGram Access, a first of its kind global on and off ramp service for digital wallets to increase the utility of digital assets by creating a bridge between cash and cryptocurrencies. These bridges are crucial. This is why I say, like, Stellar truly is, allowing for mass adoption to take place, or at least they are trying to accelerate it. This could easily connect 1.4 billion people currently living in the cash economy to the world of digital assets. That's big. And remember, this is right on par with banking the unbanked. And this is also right on par with the Ripple plan from 2019. And it even goes all the way back to 2017, where we've seen the original Internet of Value being discussed, right? And even within this, we could actually scroll down and we could see the biggest problems around cross-border payments. We could see the fees, the average cost, 3 to 5 day settlement time. Like, there's a lot of problems here. And they want to bank the unbanked, right? Like, banking the unbanked has been a long-term goal of not only Ripple, but also sellers. Connect billions of people around the world to transact, give rise to entirely new businesses and industries, increase financial inclusion for millions of underbanked consumers. And it's not just unbanked, it's actually underserved individuals as well. So as we do look at the Internet of Value and banking the unbanked, Stellar and Ripple are two companies that have been fully focused on this through the use of cryptocurrencies and digital assets. And now we even see banking the unbanked, how DeFi can help the low-income population. Again, like, this has become a big trend. And this is why I say, like, you know, the bridge to mass adoption is not that complex. A lot of people think that mass adoption won't happen for, you know, another 5-10 years. But ultimately speaking, the best way to achieve mass adoption is simply by giving individuals a much better, efficient experience. And that could either be through sending money, receiving money, whatever the case may be. And that's how we get to that point. But also, I've said it, mass adoption doesn't have to be me or you paying or being, you know, paid in XRP or XLM. No, the networks could be tapped in, meaning RippleNet, for example, with the use of XRP, could easily be utilized to send and receive money, which is direct mass adoption of, guess what? Crypto-powered networks. And I think that this is kind of already starting with Stellar with MoneyGram as well. I think that that's a great way and a great introduction to mass adoption. But it doesn't end there, right? We know that Stellar has a lot of great things on the platform, right? One of the biggest things is global access with the ramps, right? Like, ramps are the big thing. On and off ramps to and from fiat to digital is a big thing. And I've always said, like, this is a great use case as well. But it doesn't need to be the only thing. We also have tokenization, right? Like, tokenization is a big thing. We also have anchors as well, which anchors are really just kind of expanding upon the network. Ultimately speaking, I love this use case for the retail sector. I really do think that Stellar is a giant around the retail sector. They're collaborating with USDC. They're collaborating with, you know, MoneyGram and some of the largest money transfer services out there. I think that Stellar is becoming a giant within the retail sector to send and receive money. And that use case is not small at all. A lot of people think that, oh, well, Stellar's not going to reach, high prices because of this. No, that's not the case, right? Like, they also have some other great services tied to Stellar. And some of the anchors, right? Like, there's a ton of anchors on Stellar. Like, if you actually scroll through them, they're very large. And there's probably some on here that you know about. Like, Stellar has been helping a lot of these exchanges and a lot of these other platforms, like, for example, Alchemy Pay, which is a project that I've talked about in the past. Like, they're really helping all of these by connecting them to the network and also even connecting them to traditional banking rails. That way we can have an interoperable platform. And that's a big deal. And like I said, Stellar is also focused on other things as well. They have a ton of ecosystem platforms and projects that are trying to do very similar things, either with on and off ramps, tokenization services, you name it. Currently speaking, SCF applicants, there's about 105 of them. Applications, about 75 of them. SCF winners, about 57 of them. There's over 300 plus results around projects on Stellar right now. And that's significant because not all of these are on and off ramps. Some of these are, tokenization services, CBDC solutions, stablecoin solutions. So I'm very excited about Stellar. Whether or not it's just retail payments, whether or not it's just, sending and receiving money utilizing the Stellar network, I still believe in the idea that, like, mass adoption through some of these initiatives is crucial to focus on. And I've always said, like, with Stellar and Ripple, these are two pillars in this space. you need to be heavily focused on both of them because, you know, they have their own major spotlight in the space, especially around utility. And again, these are two major projects in terms of tokens, right? XLM and XRP tokens, they're the major ones mentioned on a lot of these documents with the IMF, the World Bank, for an example. Now, XRP is not Ripple, Ripple is not XRP, and these two companies kind of utilize their digital tokens a little bit differently. So, for an example, Ripple has chosen XRP, and the way that XRP is utilized is on the platform, you could utilize RippleNet with on-demand liquidity, tapping into XRP, and their cross-border payment scheme utilizes XRP. Now, with Stellar, XLM is actually required to utilize the network. You need to hold at least one XLM, and then you also have to pay fees with XLM. There's a whole bunch of other things to build upon that as well. So it's a little bit different of a story between XRP and XLM and how they are utilized through like a company, for example. But again, like Ripple is not XRP and XRP is not Ripple. Ripple has chosen to utilize XRP. Now, outside of that scope, right, you also have the Ledger. XRP Ledger is building hundreds of plus use cases utilizing XRP. And the same exact way that Stellar right now has a ton of use cases, over 300 plus on the ecosystem that will be utilizing and tapping in to XLM as well. This is great. This is awesome to note as well, because that means that that is value outside of the typical scheme that Stellar or even Ripple is utilizing these digital tokens for. So with that being said, I'm very excited for the future around utility and these two digital tokens. These are two tokens that I personally think are going to be huge in the future, especially as we do start to see utility being shined upon a little bit more. The 1.4 billion unbanked could easily be tapped in through something like what Stellar is doing. And we do know that even with this recent announcement, whether or not it's a big disappointment from those that got their hopes up, it is still an announcement that confirms that Stellar is here for the retail sector, for banking the unbanked. They don't really care about the B2B sector so much. That's why we don't see a big focus put on that. In terms of Ripple and what they're doing with XRP, they're more so heavily focused on B2B. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on for more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Peace out.